On this episode of the Coaches Clinic, brought to you by Max Effort Muscle and Sam Adams, we have a great conversation to get you motivated and get better for the first of the year.
Yeah, I mean, we went in a lot of different directions, but what I was really, for myself, and hopefully you'll get something out of this as well, was tapping into some fitness gurus, their knowledge on this time of year, right? And so many of us are trying to make some gains right now, and we'll fall off the wagon, but you'll hear some advice on how to make those goals a reality.
Yeah, I think you got some unique insight on how to kind of tackle your goals, because I think we all did a good job of providing like a different view on how you can be successful in your resolutions or whatever you want to call them.
I think that this was one of the episodes where I was able to sit back more and really just learn from the three of you. And I think there was a ton of knowledge dropped, and I think anyone's going to benefit from it.
I'm just going to say you're going to definitely want to share this one with your friends. Let's roll the tape. On Coaches Clinic podcast, we're back. Our coaching staff, Mike Deegan, Tyler Treadway, Dustin Myers, brought to you by MaxEffortMuscle.com and Sam Adams. Drink you a beer, after the game one day. Max Effort Muscle, we got the I Want Abs contest going on right now. Dustin was I'm going to take over the ad read today. I Want Abs contest is going on right now. You can register between January 1st and February 15th if you want to get abs, you want to get in shape. We got it all laid out over at Max Effort Muscle, and it could really change your life. Deegan's in here pumping up iron before the podcast, getting it done. So if you want to look like Deegan, sign up for the I Want Abs contest 2023. Appreciate you guys. All right, Treadway, we heard you got a topic today. What's up, kid?
Yep. So Deegan had sent us something before the holidays about the consistency in podcasting and how I'm not going to butcher the stats.
All that percentage thing.
Basically, so many people start out, and then it had the levels of when you get 10 episodes, whatever percentage makes it to 10, whatever percentage makes it to 20, and then you're elite if you make it to 100 episodes, the top 1%. So taking that and the time of the year, first of the year, everyone's got these goal setting and everything like that. But I want to talk about the power of consistency, the power of habit, and kind of what areas you guys are, to steal the term from Brian Peters, chasing your edges, but building consistency. Like, what are some things going into the new year with coaching related where you guys are in your personal lives trying to build consistency and just get a little bit better and separate yourselves from the pack? I think that'd be super interesting to hear, because I think a lot of people want to know what you're thinking.
What episode are we at? Do we know?
28.
That's pretty good.
We're inching up there.
We're
a quarter of the way there.
Yeah. And I, whenever he sent that, I was like, no doubt we'll make it to 100.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because what I realized about, especially podcasting with a group of guys like yourself, and I realized this with the round table, I get better every episode. Mm-hmm. It's like therapy. We're helping people, but we're also helping ourselves. It's selfish to me. I want to make sure we record so we don't miss out on our own development. Right. So it's I think when people look at it like that, to get to 100, as long as your crew's good, makes sense.
Simple.
It doesn't not make sense to me. I know it doesn't make sense to everybody, but it doesn't not make sense. But you can start with you, Dean.
No, I think I mentioned this on one of the recent shows here. I'm getting more and more convinced that there's just not this secret sauce or secret pill to anything. There's good information that you have to find, and then it's just the ability to do that. I'm rereading Legacy. Every year we read a book with our team. I have our seniors. We have a book called Legacy. It's about the New Zealand All Blacks. I don't know if you've heard of that. But anyways,
I need to read that.
Yeah, it's really good. It's for business and sports. And anyways, they talk about doing 100 things 1% better. Should I do 100 things 1% better? And I've read this book probably 6 times, but for whatever reason, this time around, that little phrase got me. So you're trying to find all these little things that you can just do a little bit better.
Uptick a little bit,
better, right? I feel like whether it's nutrition and training, I now know from you and Dustin, I know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Now you just have to just go out and execute, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, I think for me this year, I'm not really seeking for the new knowledge in certain areas. It's just how can I be a little bit better in a lot of different areas.
So you're really evaluating the whole picture and not saying I need to get 1% better every day. I need to get 1% better at all this stuff overall.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, we think
never
about
heard it like that.
from baseball, it's how can we get up the line better from home to first? How can we take better turns? How can we provide better nutrition for our players? But it's just little things, little marginal gains, not necessarily the big things.
I like that. D?
So I think for me, consistency is never really the hard part. I think making sure that I'm doing everything with intention is the thing that I need to get better
I like
on.
it.
So, I know I'm always going to train. I'm going to train every day. I know I'm going to train hard, but sometimes am I doing it just to kind of check that box, or am I actually doing it with intention to improve? I think the same can be said for business. Like, I'm always making videos, I'm always making content, but if I can be intentional and kind of plan my week, plan ahead, kind of make sure that I'm like getting this type of content on this day, this type of content on that day, and really setting out a schedule and adhering to it, that's how I'm going to get better. So, like I said, for me, the consistency is not the hard part, is being intentional within that.
Yeah, I like it. Trevor?
Well, it's funny enough that you mentioned the book Legacy because that's what my point was going to be, because you recommended the book to me, and I started reading it at the first of the year too. So going through that, so I won't reiterate what you said, but trying to learn more about leadership and be kind of that constant leader, because when I'm kind of searching for the path that I want to go down, there's all these things that I'm grabbing at, trying to figure out what I want to be good at, what I want to get better at, and it always kind of comes back to leadership. So I'm reading a book, one of Jocko Willink's book right now on like military leadership, and that's really cool. And just like understanding conversations, understanding situations, and things like that. Like trying to be more focused on intangible things that will help me be a better overall person.
Just so I'm clear, so you think by reading leadership books, you're trying to open up your mind to different avenues?
I think like previously we all get pigeonholed into the one way that we think that leadership should look like, or how I would never read a book on a rugby team to learn a leadership thing. And it's kind of where I was going with this Jocko. I know he's a super popular person, but I've never read a military book on how military people lead. It's always been coaching or weightlifting and things like that, and trying to draw those disciplines. So trying to learn from different leaders and seek out, somebody. I was browsing Twitter yesterday of people who are in the software engineering space and how they're kind of like leading in that realm. So just understanding how different people lead different ways and in different sectors. So not just sports and gym and things like that.
A couple years ago, I got really into this, like cross training, right? Like, so I'm a baseball coach, but I stopped following baseball as much, but I got into rugby, cricket, the Premier League, just and not as a fan, but more how they train and how they operate. Like
That's cool.
That was because they're ahead of us in certain ways, and so
cricket's an interesting crossover.
Yeah, it is. There's some similarities there, but just for me though, it's more the training environments are trying to create, the way they're building relationships, those types of things. What most intrigue me. Gee, what I wanted to ask you, because I think about this. Dustin mentioned intentionality, which I think is so important. And you talk a lot about non-negotiables for you in your life. And, for me, I've learned for myself that if I can create about a 2 to 3 hour block of focused work, I'm going to be in really good shape. But how do you go about creating those things? Using that non-negotiable rules as far as you have for training, diet, and all that stuff. But can you try to see how those apply together?
And that's what I'm attempting to do in this year, too. And I don't know why I waited till the first of the year, but it was, felt good to do it with everyone else. But I really am upset that I don't stick to journaling. And so I started to, for me, it started way back, like my buddy Todd, his grandpa journaled at the farm what happened I saw this as a kid, but it wasn't for business. It was actually for what he was planting. That's why I started doing it, like which field had what in it, right? But dude, they had crates full of these Mead notebooks. You can go back in 1957 and know what the weather was, what he did on the farm. It's unbelievable. And
he captured the entire history of the farm.
Correct. In just little blocks. And so once he passed away, like years ago when he was in his 90s, they went back through these. I mean, it's really – and so I've always had an affection towards man, that would be so cool. And obviously I do a ton of content, so there's definitely stuff happening. But on a regular basis, I'm like, why am I not sticking to this? And you might laugh, but I think part of it is I don't have the attention span to rewrite out the structure of it in the notebook every day. I started to think what is my problem here? And it's that there's certain things I want. I want to keep my body weight. I want to keep my meals from training, and that's what I do, right? But then I want, what was my personal development? What am I working on? My goals, all those things. So I made myself just a template on Microsoft Word that I could print out. And I told Rachel, I'm like, print 14 of these. I got my hole puncher. I got a little binder. I mean, this is very retro. I'm like, if I can make it 14 days, But I was starting to think to myself, I'm like, I really think it's the filling out the stuff in the book every day. I think that I just need to go fill it out because it's already structured. And so I made it 14 days. I printed, so I did start a little bit early. I just printed off the 30 for the first of the year. And I just have a notes section literally at the bottom that probably is more about like what happened that day. And so I've been going like, hey, I caught a bullpen for AG. We did this at work. Really small things, right? And I can already feel like in a week or so or 2 weeks of it, like I've went back a couple things, just like with my weight fluctuations. And so that was one thing I was trying to dial in because I'm like, I want to be able to do this and I want to be able to do it for a year and see like how it could impact me. But I had to like dial in, like, why am I not? Like, I'm so consistent on a lot of things.
What time are you doing it? What time do you usually?
I usually do it right when I get home from the gym. So that's the other thing is now it's in that block too.
So now you get your 4 to 8 or
yeah,
whatever.
my 4 to 8's kind of like where I'm the most productive. So it's like, you know, now it's in that block where I'm forcing myself to write too, which I think you saw on Twitter, right? And so it's like there's a few things like I've always thought I could be like a James Clear type of guy, right? Obviously James is massive, but that is like where I see myself. But I can't be that way if I'm not then dedicating the time to create that type of content too. So what I'm forcing myself is to do the things that are already going on, get them out intentionally in that block of time I've already set aside. And on top of that, then a few things that I think were kind of limiting me, like trying to figure out like things the person I want to be or the things I want to do, why was I not doing them? And I think part of it is it's in that block of time. And the other part is there was a couple limiting factors just to my personality of why I don't know. So that's a couple things I'm working on. They're small, but I think they'll compound. They already are. I can already see like just like the intention, to Dustin's point, of me writing those things on Twitter in the morning and then to a little bit of journaling. Like it already feels different.
There's a great book called The War of Art.
Yeah,
and
I have it.
and anyways, but it talks about the difference between being a pro and an amateur.
Mm-hmm.
You know, amateurs write when they feel like they want to write or when they feel motivation come. A pro's going to show up and do the job every day, regardless if it's raining, whatever goes on. A pro goes and does their thing. And for whatever reason, that was a big shift for me when I was in writing. Was like, all right, after doing it for 4 or 5 years as an amateur, I mentally said, all right, if I'm going to be a pro at this, a pro has a certain process. A pro has a routine. A pro has people who edit. You know, so. Anyways, I think that little shift. It sounds like in this journaling space, you're going to be a pro now. It's part of your routine.
It's starting to be.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's parts of my content creation that are pro, but this part is not.
So you know what a pro looks like.
Correct.
Right.
Because we're executing otherwise.
Sure.
So anyway, there's a few things like that, but I think that overall, another thing is too is that I've also tried to look at not just filling up time, but also like the fulfillingness of some of the time. And a lot of it's come back to coaching. Like we've joked about the rec stuff and help, but I mean, it really has like enriched my life helping with these kids. Right. So then trying to say like, all right, how can I help more? And so I'm going through some stuff like that to maybe help the high school team a couple days a week, do some more things. Like there's some things that like I've really seen a lot of value and I can tell. So I'm trying to double down on some of that stuff too, figure it out. So.
Go ahead, Trent.
No, you're good.
I was going to ask, how disciplined are you with your time? Like, do you
I mean, definitely not as disciplined as I need to be. Yeah.
It can get away from you sometimes, or do days get away from you frequently? Maybe that's it.
You know what? I'm not even really sure how to answer that. You know.
Can I push on one more thing?
Yeah.
Let me say, do you have a couple of things that are non-negotiable you got to get done?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. You know, I have to train every day.
Uh-huh.
Usually, I have to do some type of conditioning every day, and I spend some time with the family every day.
And those are different to you, training and conditioning.
No, I mean, it might be two separate things, or it might be the same. Just kind of depends on the day.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm always gonna train.
Mm-hmm.
Probably gonna condition.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And then you said families. That was
I gotta have some type of family time every day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I think a lot of the in-between time gets away from me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's why I need to be more intentional about, like, even if I know, like, all right, I'm gonna create content this afternoon. Like, well, then if I know it's coming, I need to set the plan for it.
Right.
You know, make sure that I'm just not going into it blind, and you know, because then I think the in-between time then is when we lose a lot of the time. We can look at a day and say, like, all right, I got this, and this done. I, you know, handled all my priorities, spent time with the family, got my training in, ate my meals, did all this thing. But what about all the in between time?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's the time that gets away from myself often, probably a lot of other
It
people
gets
as
away
well.
from everybody, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Someone said one time, don't show me your goals, show me your calendar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you really tracked your time.
Yeah.
And I know things can get away from me really quickly. I feel like I have like 2 or 3 big things I want to hit every day, or just things I need to accomplish that day. It may not be, and then the other stuff. But yeah, being diligent with your schedule and your time, I think is.
I just also realized that I'm just extremely effective when I'm by myself. It just is what it is. And I can never be probably as effective. Like if there's a group think going on, of course I'm going to be into it and effective. But like certain things that have to happen, that's why sometimes I come in late or sometimes I leave early. If I have stuff like I sometimes have to like literally be alone to think things through. It's just the way I operate. I don't know why. But I also operated like kind of like a lone entrepreneur for a really long time. Me and Dustin always coexisted, but we also ran our own other businesses, right? So yeah, we can walk through and talk about the gym for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. We can agree on pretty much everything, but then there's all these other businesses that are happening, and which is why I think what I wrote about this morning, that necessity of the morning, I need all of that time, or I can't even like probably even process. Like it's like almost like it happened out of necessity, but it's so needed, or I just don't think I'd be able to operate and do all this stuff. And so, and I think that time, like even I started adding the sauna back in, which I really like for 20, 30 minutes after I'm lunging and squatting, and like even using that time as additional time to plan stuff for what I'm going to write on Twitter's actually helped a lot. So I have like while I'm squatting and lunging, I turn the sauna on. And then when I go into the sauna, like I'm on my phone, but I'm not really on social media. I'm planning stuff. So I've noticed that even another 20 or 30 minutes, like I've grabbed another 20 or 30 there that's kind of give me some clarity. So yeah, I mean, it's a work in progress, but I think like the intention is the key, D. I mean, I think that at the end of the day is because I know once I'm outside of that window, I'm going to be good, but I don't know if I'm going to be great. I just know that about myself.
Yeah, I don't really, buy into the whole New Year's resolution thing because I think like you need to, try to work towards things regardless of what time of year it is.
For sure.
But if I did believe in it, that's my New Year's resolution to be more intentional.
There you go. No, I think it's good because at the end of the day, it's still a fresh start, right?
Yeah.
So if you follow through with it, then it's not a hokey mess. Like because we don't go off and on our diet every first of the year or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I just think it's one of those things where you got. First off, I can't believe it's 2023. But I'm like, well, damn, I better start to get my journal together if I'm gonna have anything to look back on, for God's sakes. So I don't know. I think in the coaching space, though, I think we're all teachers, right? So these are things that we can teach the people that are, looking to us for guidance, and we have to try to improve it ourselves first. So I think it's huge.
Yeah, and I had, just listening to this, I had a call with a friend last week, and he was like, hey, I want to call and talk to you, go over some, like, New Year's resolutions. And to your point, I hate New Year's resolutions. I never set them. But I set goals for myself every new year of things I just want to get better at. But it's never like everyone always posts, oh, I want to read X amount of books. I want to drink X amount of water. I want to lose X amount of weight. But I think, like, once you start to hit a snag, so let's say your goal is to lose 20 pounds, right? And you lose 12, and then you gain 5. So you're still minus 3, but most people are like, well, I'm up 5 pounds. No, you're down 3. Just get back on track and you push through it. You hit a little bit of a bump in the road. But a lot of people don't do that. They gain the 5, and then they'll gain another 10. So now they're, like, 7 pounds up from where they started. But, like, one thing that really helped me was to make them more emotional-based. So, like, instead of saying, like, I want to read – last year my goal was to read a book a month. Well, I didn't do that, but I got a lot smarter last year.
Yeah, but how many did you read, Trevor? Do you know?
I read 9 books.
Yeah, it's still a win, bro.
Right, it's still a win, but I found myself starting to, like, reach for more education. And whether, Deegan, something that he said – a long time ago was you don't have to read a book to get smarter. You can have a powerful conversation with somebody and gain a lot of value from.
Facts.
There were a couple books that I started, and I was like, I have to finish this because I have to check this box because this goes towards the 12. Well, I'm like a quarter of the way into the book, and I hate it. This sucks.
Yeah.
Get off it.
So I throw it out the window, and I'm like, I'm going to go listen to a podcast. And then I do it, and I complete that, and it's like, cool. I didn't check a box, but I accomplished the goal. And so when I started to shift those things more towards like the emotional or just the ideas of these are areas that I want to improve, I started to just build habits to accomplish those things. So another one of the things that I started last year was lunging every day.
Mm-hmm.
You've been lunging for a long time. I've tried the streak so many times,
Yeah.
and every time I would always try to reason with myself. It was, I'm going to lunge every day this week, and I wouldn't do it. I would start out good. I might get a weekend, and then I would just fall off. And then it would be 3 months before I try to start it again. And then I'd be like, well, I'm just going to do 5 days a week. I'll give myself 2 days off. Well, it's Saturday night, and I've lunged 2 days this week. And I'm like, well, messed that one up. I'll wait another 3 months to start again. But I started to tell myself, like, it's not about the lunges. It's about building the streak and just compounding something. It doesn't. You don't have to do lunges. It's phenomenal. It's worked well for me. I'm in the 180th or somewhere around their day, but what that did was it taught me how to compound things and how you feel when you create that streak. It's like the emotion you get from every day I'm done lunging. I'm like, sick. That's one more day in the bank, and that's one more day I just got 1% better.
That's what I like about the journaling thing too, and the writing. My mom walked a mile for 100 days after she listened to the book, and out of all these years, she called me. She's like, you know what? I think I could walk a mile for at least 100 days. I'm like, of course you could, Mom. And she hit me 11 o'clock at night. She was busy real day, and she was on the treadmill because she had to get it in. And then she started to be, it built confidence, started to make her proud of the streak. And that's what I was trying to explain to her. I was like, it's more about that because then you have an accountability to something. Because a lot of people just aren't accountable to anything. You know what I mean? Except for they got to be at work at a certain time. So the reality is no one knows if you don't go lunge 184 except for you. And if once that becomes more important, that's where I think there's a transition. So I think that is really what that shit's about.
With the I Want Abs coming out right now, and I've been following your guys' stuff too, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And this idea of having events and
It's
things.
huge.
And can you just talk about? I feel fortunate. I think my life is built up because I have a season,
Yeah.
and that season comes to an end, and then anyways, there are some events that, for me, I've always said I just learned in the last couple of years that I feel like late November until about mid-January is a really bad time for me mentally. It's my slowest time at work, and I don't know. I hate to say it, but the darkness, I don't feel great, But what I also realize that's probably when I have been least active mentally, physically. So this last couple years, I've said, all right, I need to get a real plan and have an event
During that time.
because I don't feel good mentally. I feel off. I feel, some of the words that people say. I don't think I go to that depth of depression, but I don't feel good. I know that. So anyways, can you talk a little bit about, just the idea of having some things to look forward to?
Well, I just wrote about that a little bit. I think that people should look at those type of things. And I used to have clients plan vacations for their event. Tell me about their family reunions. Dustin just ran a marathon. I did a powerlifting. Whether this is your job or it's your season, or you have to have something to look forward to that's going to, once again, keep you more accountable. So I would tell my clients, let's figure these things out once a quarter. Something that has some type of reward system to it that makes you going to be more accountable, because everyone wants to look forward to something.
Yeah.
And I think the I Want Abs, obviously we have all these great prizes and stuff, but it has a block of time where you have to be about it. And if you're about it, you're going to get better. Are you going to win? I hope you win, but if you don't, you're still, your net is still going to be in a positive way. So then you get done in, let's say in the spring, and it's you need what's next. Oh, you know what? I'm in great shape now. I should plan a family vacation. I don't care if you drive to fucking Lake Erie. Plan a vacation where you're going to be on the beach for a couple days, and it still has to keep you accountable. Then after that, go see a family member. So I just think there has, and it doesn't have to be necessarily vacations. It could be whatever. It could be go to a ball game. It could be, but I think that people need to think of their life in blocks like that. Because if I think about what's really pushed me all of these years to keep getting better is every quarter, multiple times a year. I mean, me and Dustin was competing in bodybuilding shows 2-3 times a year for years. Then I was doing the photo shoots. And then when I wasn't doing that, I was doing powerlifting meets. Since 98.
So is it the mental? Mental?
It was always constant because I was always getting ready for a season.
But is it a little bit of the fear too? If I'm not in shape for this
100%.
This meet, or I'm not prepared for this.
Well, it sparks all the content. It sparks all the excitement. It sparks all the education. I think it sparks the things around it, or what makes you better, because it's a structure. it's a little bit of a looser structure, but it's still like, and I'm going to win a fucking bowling trophy. Like, that's the real of it. They're out there in the fucking gym, a gang of them for both of us. Like, I literally got bowling trophies. That's what they look like. So it's like it's more about that process. I think having that process in my life made me fall in love with that process. And then once I saw what those results yielded, I was like, why would I stop this process? So I think that's why when I can't compete because I'm like hurt or whatever, it bugs the shit out of me because I love that process, because I love the push to that. I love the date. I love all of that because it's the results it's yielded in life for me. It's unbelievable. But I think people can create that in their own way. They just need to kind of think of it like that. So,
and I think kind of chopping the year up into quarters and having some type of event every quarter, that's a great way for people to look at it.
Agreed.
You know, and it doesn't have, like you said, it doesn't have to be a vacation, doesn't have to be running a marathon, but it could be something. It could be, hey, your birthday, then you have a vacation, then you have whatever.
Then you have an anniversary. I mean, everybody has these life things going on anyway.
Yeah, and if you don't have one, you can create one. You can say, all right, you know what? Maybe I've never ran before, but I am going to do the neighborhood
the 5K.
The 5K,
the turkey
exactly.
trot. Like, walk the fucking turkey trot, whatever. You know what I mean? I agree. I think, dude, I think it's massively important.
If you think back to, now, I mean, I didn't play sports as a child, but most people grow up playing multiple sports. So you have a different sport basically every quarter.
Yes.
It's kind of the same. There's a different season, a different sport. You know, even the weather, changes every quarter. So it kind of maybe taps into that, maybe kind of the earliest example of, working towards a goal that we have as young kids.
I've said this a million times, like dealing with ex-pro athletes, they struggle the most with this exact thing. But I think everyone struggles with it. They might just not know it. That, to Dustin's point, most people go through that process most of their younger life. And then they get out of that because they don't have a game day anymore.
They don't know what to do.
They don't have anybody that's telling them to be at practice. You know what I mean? The structure's gone. Instead of forcing that structure, I think I kind of fell into it on accident. Still have a team, still have practice times, still have game times. And the locker room, which also is created during that, is also what things got, the camaraderie with their homies, running and doing all this stuff. I think that you can create those things to some degree that will enrich your life. I swear. I think people think it makes their life harder. I don't believe that's true.
I love that, and I want to challenge you guys, all three of you here, for 1 second to think about this, because I think people, we all know like New Year's resolutions to have a tendency to fail. I don't know what the percentage is, but whatever. Like maybe
I'm sure it's high though.
Yeah, maybe like 20% see it through, maybe 2 months. But anyways. I think, and I've talked about this with some others too, like it can be intimidating hearing from you guys who you said, I don't miss a workout. Like I'm going to work out 7 days a week. You don't.
Yep.
But what would you say to someone who does fall off the wagon? Because I think you can almost, with your lifestyles, it can almost be a little bit intimidating. Like I can't lift, I can't work out every day. But if I do break a streak or whatever, what do you say to someone because right now they're going to go through it. You know what I mean? They're going to they have this they have a spark right now. It's a new year. They're working hard, and they're going to hit a roadblock.
What do you say? Flip it to you, Mike. Shortstop overthrows the first baseman. What do you tell him?
Next play, next pitch.
Short memory.
Yeah.
Don't compound it. Don't then make another. Don't Chuck Knoblock it. Don't keep
right.
throw it. Keep not being able to throw it. Keep not like. And I think that's the one thing I've tried to double down on with a lot of the clients, because I realize they're not us. This is our job, dude. You should expect us to be at this level, right?
I've always loved when you said that. By
it's the fucking truth.
Yeah, like
I remember having. I was having a talk with Ryan Schaefer, actually, one of my homies that's an attorney, and he was like, he telling me like I can't stay on. I'm like, Ryan, you shouldn't be. Me and Dustin should be like this. This is what we do for our job.
How we feed our family.
I can't
and
go
if we're
and
not
do
like this, then we shouldn't be doing this for a
yeah,
living.
correct.
Right,
and I'm like, I can't go litigate for you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was just a funny conversation, but I remember having this with multiple people. And so the point is that it's like that short memory to not say, you know what, I didn't have my meal today. I ate Taco Bell. Well, then don't go eat pizza at night and then miss your workout. You say, all right, let me not repeat that. It's not the end of the world. I'm trying to build a machine here. Next play.
Right.
Just do what I'm supposed to do. Go and do it. I don't have to do anything extra. Just kind of, I think the biggest thing is not make such a big deal out of it.
Yeah, I know.
Try to get you back.
I had a guy I played college ball with who got to the big leagues with the New York Yankees, made 7 starts, and he used to always say, you don't have 2 bad starts in a row.
Yeah.
When he was in my, like, you're going to have a bad start, right?
Everyone does.
Yeah, so you're trying to avoid two bad starts in a row or 2 bad days or
That-
2 bad weeks.
Yeah,
or-
that's my best
Yeah.
advice. I think it's similar to sports. What you do.
Yeah, kind of along the same lines. I always tell people all you need to worry about is what you're going to do training-wise today and what you're going to do tomorrow. If you know those two things, then you're going to be all right. Now, we obviously have a little bit more, leeway, or at least, you're always trained at 4 a.m. I can train at different times throughout the day or whatever because I live in the gym in here. But, like, say for anyone, if they know, like, all right, I'm training today at 5 p.m. and here's what I'm doing, and I know tomorrow I'm training at 5 p.m. and here's what I'm doing. And if you just keep repeating that every day, like I said, like you said, don't worry about the last play.
No.
Don't worry about what you didn't do yesterday. Worry about today and tomorrow. And if you can just check that each day, you're good.
Because you probably see it, I'm sure, with wrestling too. If a guy goes out and like lays an egg on the mat, you're like, well, don't then compound that the next match in the same tournament or whatever it is. Like,
sure.
you have to be able to bounce back. That's part of
Well,
being a
it's-
resilient
I'd say
person.
it's a resiliency,
Yeah.
right? So I'm hearing.
Well, and I mean, I'm coaching youth wrestling now.
There you go.
So it's even harder to kind of drive that home.
We're pulling it back to coaching. I love it.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I was preaching to the kids last night. I said, all we're going to worry, because we got our first big duel. We got Newark
Yeah.
at home tomorrow.
Okay.
And I said, all we're going to worry about is scoring the next point.
Yeah,
I said,
I like
I don't
that.
care if you're down 8-0. You're worried about scoring the next point. Don't
Yeah.
worry about the 8 that just got scored on you.
Well, in batting, I mean, what guys fail 7 or 8 out of 10, like,
Yeah.
So it's like a same. You have to in baseball, especially. You can't. You're not 10 for 10.
It's one of
ever.
one of my favorite books is a book by it was the old Bill Walsh, the 49ers coach.
Yep.
The score takes care of itself, and that was his thing. They, you just do the right things. Like
Yep.
they were worried about how they were answering the phones and how their staff dressed and all these little things. But yeah, like if you do all the little things, then the score will take care of itself, whether that's training or
Yep.
and whatever you're doing. But I appreciate it. I post something on Twitter on the first. That's my yearly post. I always say, all right, for those people who are complaining about their gyms being crowded right now, 'cause
Yeah.
you always see that, right?
Of course.
I was like, grab someone by the shoulder and tell them welcome, and instead of being that guy, right? Because I always hear you guys are so encouraging, like, so what, you missed, big deal. And
Yeah.
who cares? Come back the next day, right? Like
Yep.
it's not. These aren't death sentences. I just
No.
know that. Yeah,
That's
go ahead.
key.
Go ahead.
No. What you just said was key. It's not a death sentence. You
Yeah.
always say that, this isn't who you are, right?
Yeah.
This is just what happened to you today, right? You missed a workout, you ate like shit. It's not a death sentence. You're not a shitty person.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
a quitter. You're not.
Yeah.
You can't start saying those.
You're
things
not a
yet.
failure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not someone who eats bad or can't handle it, right? You ate bad today.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it's not your identity.
I mean, there's days like when I was traveling, like it's during the week, like I was trying not to drink beer, but I did, and I was like, well, if I still train, like there's tomorrow, I'll try not to drink beer. I mean, it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
The compound effect's a two-way street. You
Yeah.
can
Oh, yeah.
compound a lot of good things, or you compound
That's
a lot of
true.
shitty things. And
Yeah.
you're going to be the result of your action. If you compound a lot of good things, you're probably going to have a lot of success, and if you compound a lot of bad things, you're probably not going to get to go where you want to go.
Right.
Thus, I want to ask you. So you're coming in the season. Are you? Is there anything you're nervous about? Like, because now you're like legit on the sideline with these kids at this age. Is there any like? You have any butterflies about it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit nervous for my kid.
Yeah, of course.
You know
That's
what
why I
mean?
asked.
I mean, I was like, my heart was racing last night thinking about all the different scenarios or
Yeah.
whatever. My big thing, I don't care about whether, how many matches he wins, how many matches he loses. I just hope when he does lose, because he's undefeated right now,
Yeah.
but he's going to lose. You know what I mean,
course.
just the way it is. I just hope he's able to handle losing. That's the thing I'm most nervous for. Like, are the wheels going to fall off once he experiences defeat? Because wrestling is such a revealing and personal sport. I think it's really different than any other sport, except for
agree.
maybe, boxing or MMA, but, most 10-year-olds are not doing MMA,
Yeah,
but
but that's the closest thing.
it's the closest thing really, so, if you're 10 years old and you lose a basketball game or you lose a football game, I'm sure it hurts, but you can always part of you can say well, I did my best. These other kids, blew it or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe I was on the sideline when the play happened or whatever. Wrestling is not like that. And when you lose a wrestling match, it can be almost humiliating in a way because you're getting beat up.
Oh yeah.
It really taps into something,
Because somebody's
primal.
actually imposing their will on you to win in front of people.
So Deegan, you've never wrestled before, but imagine another man holding you down as you try to get up.
And you
And
have
they
to
don't
say
let you
uncle.
up.
Yeah.
And just repeatedly you try to get up, they take you back down, and you're not allowed to do what you want to do. So it's that's kind of the thing, is that I'm nervous for, I guess for all the kids, but especially for my son. I want to make sure they're able to handle adversity and handle losing, because that's really going to determine how well the season goes.
Yeah.
Well, how do you prepare for that?
I mean, obviously, like facing adversity in practice is a big part of it. So like for example, for last night we had to do group of 3. They're going live, and basically the winner stays in, and rather than Jack going with well, he has his normal drill partner who's really good. Then he got some kids around his weight that he normally goes live with or whatever. But the coach put him with the coach's 2 sons, who are both bigger than him, both very experienced, both very good. And so he's in a group of 3 with 2 killers. And he didn't get a single takedown, which
That's
is
tough.
I didn't expect him to. But Jamie, the head coach, came to me. He said, "Did you see how Jack was battling with them?" I said, "Yeah." He was right back on him every time.
Oh yeah.
So he was fighting really hard. So I think that was a big step up for him. I mean, to not pout or anything. It's hard to go 5 minutes in a row with 2 kids that are bigger and better than you and not get a single takedown.
Yeah, that would be tough.
And he was still fighting the whole time.
What was the feedback in the car, or whenever you? I mean, did he express frustration?
No, he didn't at all. Well, and then after that, we ended up doing it again. So I switched him out to another group just to make sure he didn't get beat up 2 times in a row. And even with these other 2 kids he went with are both good, but he was able to handle them pretty easily. And, so I don't know. We'll see. I mean, but that's the biggest thing is they got to face adversity in the practice room first. If your kid's always grabbing the kid they know it's going to be an easy match, or I've seen this in every wrestling room, whether we're talking about the Granville Youth Tournament, the Granville Youth Room, or at Ohio State. There are some kids that kind of hide off to the side. You know what I mean? They don't want to be right in plain view of the coaches because they're not going to go super hard every go. So if a kid does that, and and I see kids in there that consistently do that, then tomorrow night when we're wrestling Newark, it's all going to be revealed then.
Sure.
So there is no hiding off to the side then. So.
How about with you, upcoming season? I mean, you're not that far out.
No, we're
You're in it
right
right
on
now,
it.
right?
Yeah. We'll start up here in a few weeks. Open up late February. So yeah, it's crazy because as the weather is bad,
Yeah.
we're closer to playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, the baseball season for you and with high school too, it's like, the weather hasn't broke yet.
We're not the boys of summer. We're
Yeah.
the boys of late winter and
Yeah.
early spring.
Anything
Yeah.
that's you're kind of wrestling with going into the season? Did you graduate a lot? Did you,
Yeah, we did. We lost probably close to 80% of our innings from last year on the mound.
yeah.
So we'll have a lot of new faces out there this year. But I think it's funny how you evolve as a coach. Where I don't know, I'm excited for this challenge. Mike
Yeah.
Tomlin say, "I love it all. I don't love just when you're winning. You love
So good.
you love it all." And that's how I feel like this. We've had some pretty, especially in 21, we had a very veteran team where my job was really just to not mess things up. And so this year you get to coach a little bit more and do some things differently. But yeah, I'm really excited. I think the character of the team is always really fun to watch. And this team cares. They want to win. They have a winning identity. And now we got to just figure out how.
And that now you build it like this, it's like they got to continue it and up the ante even more.
That's right. And I think they feel a responsibility. And it's not even. I'm not trying to just go complete coach speak here, but it's not just
It
about.
is the coach's clinic.
Yeah, it is. It's not just about the winning, because
Yeah.
once again, winning's a byproduct of things.
Sure.
But I think the culture says that they'll put forth a championship effort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll compete like champs. They'll respond to adversity. They'll do all those things.
Because you hosted the regional, is that what that
We
was? I
hosted the
came
regional
to?
last year,
So that was
yeah.
like a big deal for you
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, sometimes it's wild to think where we've come from. I mean, never won a conference championship and never had been to a national tournament. Now we're hosting a regional.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. So and I think
Build on that's big.
it becomes a drug though. You once you experience those things, it doesn't matter if you're a young team or not. Like
No.
you want back, right?
course.
So. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm more excited than nervous or anything like that. But it's going to be a different year for sure. We'll have some ups and downs more than when you have a young team. There's usually a bit more sporadic play, you know. But it's a good group, and I'm pumped to work with them.
That's cool. Treway?
Yeah, we're getting ready to. We had tryouts for the club team that I coach a couple weeks ago, so we're starting to build out that roster. And kind of what Deegan said about his team last year, it's kind of one of those things where we've built a really good roster, and it's up to me not to screw it up. So
there's an art in that as well, by the way.
Yeah.
There really is. There really is.
it's like, all right, I'm going to put you guys in position, then I'm not going to say anything, and I'm going to let you guys kind of figure it out. I just have to kind of guide them. But it's a much different position than I was in last year, because last year I was recruiting for this team and trying to build out a roster from it was their second year of operation last year. In the first year, they didn't have a very good roster. Last year was a total overhaul, and we made it to the semifinals. Now it's this year. All right, am I good enough coach to – because we brought in some real good talent this year. So, like, our team on paper from last year to this year is, worlds better. So now it's like, all right, if I'm good and I am as good as I think I am, I gotta win a championship. So it's like I gotta kind of figure out how to manage that without getting in the way.
He has the I gottas going, which isn't a good thing.
No.
I gotta. No.
Yeah, what I'm trying to figure out is this will be the first season that my baseball group, like the main guys are the main guys all the way across. So, I've probably been in contact with the coach more than I've ever been because I'm trying to see how they're like already early in the stage, how they're hitting, how they're performing. And, the top main killers in the lineup are going to be dudes that are old school guys. So I'm really excited to see the transfer over, which I believe the same. I believe it's there. It's going to be pretty solid, but it's like I can't wait to actually see it on the field. Obviously, I saw AG go up 10 mile an hour, on his speed and perform last year and do well. I just caught a bullpen for him yesterday, and he looked really good. And it's like, even though he had a little bit of an injury, so he hasn't been able to push as hard on the squat bar, but he's still popping the mitt good. And then the other kids, all the feedback I'm getting is amazing, right? But until you see it on the field,
that's right.
And I see my 4 or 5 of my guys go in the batter's box in a row. So I'm nervous excited.
Sure.
Because I want to be able to, you want to be right? You want to prove that the methodology, which I believe is true, will transfer over at a level where people go, man, So I'm excited about that. So, because I told Dustin this the other day, I want to prove it at a bigger scale.
Yep.
I don't want to prove it on 5 kids, although all 5 kids look completely different.
Yeah.
Which I do like that because they're not the same body type, weight, but the result has been similar, right? But it's like a group. I want to plan as a group, and I think this is step 1 to say, can I help along the season a little bit to keep everybody stronger? And let's see the core group, how they provide, what they actually do on the field. So I'm like, this is like an exciting time for me for that.
That is exciting, Trent. Yeah. I'm excited too to see how you experience handling a more talented roster versus a not as talented roster because, we kid and say it's the job to stay out of the way, but it's more like I think hitting a bullseye when you're dealing because you're going to be more targeted with your instructions and your corrections, and you're not going to be doing a complete overhaul, but you still have a big responsibility as a coach to keep that group moving in the right direction. I'll be interested to see how you feel about that because it's. I don't know. I was if you watched the Ohio State Georgia game this week,
so good.
But there was a coaching moment in there that really jumped out to me was the timeout on the fake punt. Do you remember that at all?
Where Georgia called the timeout and Ohio State made the fake punt.
They made the fake.
Oh,
they had the fake punt. They made it. So Ohio State's on it. They had saw something in film that said, "Hey," so they're holding that in their pocket, and whatever they came out with, they were like, "All right, this is it." Fake punt. Well, Georgia's special teams coach sees it.
Kirby jumped on
grabs
it.
Kirby Smart and says, and he goes, boom, timeout. In that moment. So my point is, Georgia has the most talented roster
for sure
in the country, right? All that stuff. But if Kirby Smart would have got the deer in the headlight look there, that's a first down, and the Buckeyes are playing for national championship this week. But my point is, when you have talented teams, you get these little micro moments where
that's a great point.
You're gonna have, but you just can't miss. As Corey,
you can't miss. Yeah,
that's what. And Kirby Smart did not miss in that moment. That may have been the only thing he did that game.
And I remember that specifically now that you say it, and I was thinking that catch was massive.
Oh,
him catching that. Because they walked the first down. I mean, it was,
and I think the couple things that the special teams coach saw it and he got him, but he had 3 seconds to make that decision. You could have been don't. But he trusted his staff. The guy gave him the info, and he didn't miss. But anyways, I think that's what you'll find with the talented team. It's
that's a good point.
You day to day, you're probably not doing a whole lot, but there's going to be a micro moment in there. Where Kirby Smart didn't miss, and hopefully Treadway won't miss either.
Yeah, that's what I'm nervous for. It's all right, if I'm as good as I want to be, and think I'm progressing the way as a coach, I got to hit those.
I'll give you the flip side though. When you do miss, if you're just honest about missing, people usually react. I missed a bunch of stuff out here. Yo, it's my bad.
It's all good. You do it in this arena, and then Kirby Smart's missed over the years. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I'll tell you what I caught the flu bug right before Christmas, and So I was down for a few days, and so I watched our. We had to win one game, so we were in the finals to win the regional. We had to be beat twice.
Yeah.
Got beat once, got beat again, went home. So I rewatched, and there was 3 to 5 decisions.
I was in the crowd for those too.
Well, to rewatch it though, and to go, what could we have done differently? By we, I mean our staff is really hard. So I think whatever happens this year, it's not a death sentence or terminal, but you have to go back, reflect, and do the work, and then you won't miss maybe on a bigger stage someday. But I do think doing that work, because we all are going to make our mistakes for sure.
For sure. Anything else, D?
I'm good, man.
It was a great conversation, fellas.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Coaches Clinic Podcast. Share with your friends, all your friends that are coaches specifically. Brought to you by MaxEverMuscle.com and Sam Adams. We appreciate you. I'm Corey G, Mike Deegan, Tyler Treadway, Dustin Myers. We're out.